So today, we're diving into something pretty wild: how our brains actually pay attention. And trust me, it's way more flawed and honestly more fascinating than you probably think. You might feel like you're the one in the driver's seat when it comes to your focus, but, well, the science tells a totally different story. So let me ask you something. How focused are you really? I mean, most of us kind of think we see the world like a perfect video camera, right? Just recording everything that's in front of us. But what if I told you that you could be staring right at something and be completely blind to it? Okay, so this all goes back to one of the most famous experiments in psychology ever. It's called the invisible gorilla test. Researchers had people watch a video and gave them a simple task: count how many times the players in white pass a basketball. Easy enough, right? But while they're counting, a person in a full-on gorilla suit walks right into the middle of the game, thumps their chest, and just walks away. And the crazy part, about half of the people watching completely miss it. They don't see the gorilla at all. Their eyes are on it, but their brain just doesn't register it. It's this incredible reveal that we are literally blind to things we aren't focused on. And that's what brings us to our first big idea: the attention illusion. See, your perception of the world, it's not a perfect recording. Not even close. A much better way to think about it is like a spotlight. It lights up one tiny area really, really well, but it leaves almost everything else in total darkness, even the stuff your eyes are technically looking at. So to really get this, we've got to talk about how our eyes actually work. We basically have two kinds of vision. There's your central vision, that's a super focused beam you're using to see all the details, and then there's everything else. That's your peripheral vision. It's not great with details, but it's fantastic at getting the gist of a scene and, crucially, picking up on motion. And there's a really good reason for this setup, an evolutionary one. Just think about it. Picture our ancestors out on the savannah. Maybe they're using their central vision to focus on making a tool, but it's their peripheral vision that would catch that slight flicker of movement. The lion hiding in the grass. Being able to spot danger out of the corner of your eye, that was literally the difference between life and death. Yeah, so our brain is basically a filter, constantly protecting us from just this insane flood of information. And that ancient survival instinct? Oh, it's still running the show today. It's exactly why those blinking banner ads on the side of a web page are so darn distracting. They are designed to hijack that ancient part of your brain that just can't ignore movement in the periphery. You might find them super annoying, but believe me, they work. All right, so this whole idea that our attention is limited, it leads us right into a huge myth, one that pretty much all of us believe about ourselves. I'm talking about the myth of multitasking. So, be honest, do you think you're a good multitasker? You're juggling emails, you're on a phone call, maybe trying to write a report at the same time? A lot of us wear it like a badge of honor, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, but the research on this is crystal clear. You can't actually multitask. It's just not a thing your brain can do. What you're really doing is something called task switching. That attention spotlight we talked about, it's just jumping back and forth between things super, super fast. But here's the thing. All that switching comes at a price. It's super inefficient. Every single time you switch, your brain has to kind of reboot and figure out where it was, and that burns up time and energy. It means you're way more likely to make mistakes. And this is a big one. It's why talking on a hands-free phone while driving is just as dangerous as holding one. It's not a hands problem. It's an attention problem. Your brain just can't be in two places at once. And here's the real kicker, the great irony in all of this. Some research out of Stanford found that the people who think they're amazing multitaskers are actually the worst at it. Seriously. When they were tested, they were the ones who got distracted the most easily and had the hardest time filtering out stuff that didn't matter. Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom for our poor, distractible brains. Because when we stop trying to split our attention and really learn how to harness it, that's when incredible things can happen. Which brings us to two really cool ideas: automatic mode and the flow state. Let's start with automatic mode. Just think about something like tying your shoes, or typing on a keyboard, or even driving home on a route you take every single day. You don't really think about it, do you? You've done it so many times that it's just automatic. Your brain has basically offloaded that task, which frees up your conscious mind to think about other stuff. Now, this is both a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing because, wow, it's super efficient. I mean, can you imagine having to relearn how to walk every morning? But it's a curse because when we're in autopilot mode, we're not really paying attention. And that's when you make those silly, mindless mistakes, like you're deleting a bunch of text and you go just a little too far because your fingers just kept going.
Okay, but then there's the holy grail of attention, the ultimate state of focus. It's called the flow state. You've probably felt it before. It's that feeling of being completely in the zone. You're so absorbed in what you're doing that everything else just fades away. The rest of the world just disappears.
So what does it feel like to be in a flow state? Well, a few things happen. You have this incredibly focused attention on what you're doing. You feel like you're totally in control. And time gets all weird. Like hours can pass and feel like minutes. Even your sense of self, that little voice in your head, it just goes quiet. It's really the peak of focus and performance. All right, so we've looked at the limits of our attention, like with the gorilla. And we've seen its incredible power, like in the flow state. So for this last part, let's talk about the things that are basically guaranteed to hijack your focus, whether you like it or not. These are the primitive, hardwired triggers. Deep down, you've got this part of your brain that scientists sometimes call the old brain. Think of it as your survival brain. It's ancient, it's powerful, and it has one job and one job only, to keep you alive. And it's always on, unconsciously scanning your surroundings for anything that matters for survival. So what's this old brain looking for? Well, it turns out it's laser-focused on three things: food, sex, and danger. That's it. These are the big three for survival and passing on your genes. You don't have to do anything about them, but you literally can't not notice them. And once you know this, you see it everywhere, right? Advertising is basically built on this. Delicious food, attractive people, scary warnings about what you might lose. They're all talking directly to your old brain, and it just can't help but pay attention. So that leaves us with one last really important question. We know our attention is limited. It's precious, it's powerful, and we live in a world that is practically designed to steal it from us. A world full of invisible gorillas, multitasking myths, and flashing ads, all trying to hijack that old brain of yours. The most important choice you have, really, is where you decide to point that spotlight. So, where are you going to focus yours?